Hi, Peter. Are you set?
Yes, I am.
All right. So I think our participants would they would like to hear from you, and then they could give us more of those comments because uh, okay, can't see any comments yet. So all right. So
Mm.
I'll just hand over to you, Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Make small noise now. We're not hearing from you. Hope you guys are good. If you want, just you know, drop your favorite emoji. Let's see that we get people with the interested in this particular topic. Give us the ginger we need to proceed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So thank you once again, Izzy, so much for the introduction. Today's topic, everyone can hear me, right? Just give a thumbs up if you can hear me, if audible. Mm, all right. So today's topic is AI on Edge, transforming your business with AI and machine learning. The goal of this webinar is to share our understanding and ideas with you all on how to unlock the power of AI and machine learning for your various businesses. I'm your host, Enopita, at least for this slide. I'm the DevOps lead here at Vontech, and it's great to be here. So, um, are you struggling with data like most of us do when running our companies on the cloud? Are you struggling with how to use the data you have, whether it be in your database or in your block storage, to discover insights and innovation in your businesses to give you that competitive advantage? Because I'm sure most of us have noticed how many companies these days are actually getting on that AI path, ML path, where they will just start 10xing, 50xing, 100xing their productivity. And all they did was just use their data and integrate it with AI. Well, that's what we're here to do because at OneTech, we are experts at that field. So we decided to see how we can share the knowledge to businesses. Okay. So my colleague Edith has basically given a brief on the agenda, but I'll just take it over again. So we're going to have a brief on the fundamentals of AI and machine learning, the benefits of partnering with AWS and Vontech, give some real world use cases, have a brief AI demo, and detail some best practices for successful AI and email adoption into your already existing businesses. So fundamentally, for those of us who don't really know, I'm not going to go too deeply into it. AI or artificial intelligence is the capability for machines to mimic human intelligence. In terms of businesses in the cloud, whether you're a startup founder or you're an experienced manager of companies, yeah, is basically giving machines or software or code the ability to make use of your company's storage, data, information to gain insights into it, you know, so that you can ask it questions and it can give you information in such a way that it's as if somebody who has gone through all your data storages. It's it's like asking the founder these questions, but everybody has that information, you know. That's where AI comes in. It's basically making everybody have the knowledge and understanding of a founder because a founder's job is basically to have your mind in all the various aspects of your business. So that's AI, you know. What we're trying to do is basically get people to understand that there are now tools and services which you can make, which you can use to make sure that every member of your team, whether you be a startup or you're a full-fledged company, can have the same knowledge base and insight as a founder. So that's AI basically, giving machines the capability to have that human intelligence. And in our use cases of cloud businesses, startups, tech-based enterprises, and things, is giving machines the insight of a founder. So that's AI. ML is a subset of that AI. Because mainly when we speak of AI, we're speaking of generative AI. ML, which is the subset of it, is basically speaking about predictive AI. So predictive AI is based on building systems that basically identify patterns that are already in your data. So you gain the insight, you gain the data, but then there are patterns inside. So predictive AI is there to actually understand those patterns and predict them in the future so that you can make use of those for your various use cases. Yeah. This slide basically just outlines what I already spoke about, but so there's AI, which is artificial intelligence. So techniques that enable computers to mimic human intelligence using logic, if-then statements, and other machine learning concepts. Under the AI, under the AI umbrella, there's ML, which is basically that subset of AI which helps you search for and identify patterns in your data and logic to create models which can either replicate those or build on top of those. So AI generally is classified into two. There's predictive AI and generative AI. Oftentimes, when you hear of generative AI, you're thinking of the normal AI models like GPT, Gemini, Llama 3, Claude Sonnet. Majority of those are generative AI models. The general use case of them is to use them to gain insight into data and then basically build on top of that. But oftentimes you can use them to also create machine learning models, which is basically predicting the patterns inside that data. But that's like a next level something. So what are the use cases? So we've gotten to the point where you don't need to be super, super, super technical or very into tech to make use of AI in your various businesses. Startups these days, there are startups that are just specifically on AI. You can start up your small business and you can actually integrate AI into it so that you are performing at the levels of companies that have multiple tiers of organization and many, many staff, but you're just a small little startup. So with AI these days, you can enhance customer experience, because the artificial intelligence model trains on the data you already have. So instead of having, let's say, customer support officers or customer care, you can actually have an AI model which trains on your data and then uses your data to actually answer any frequently asked questions. So you can actually delete a lot of redundant um, positions in your company using AI, augment human ingenuity. I'm sure many of us have already used, let's say, GitHub Copilot, for example, where it's not that it will replace the software engineer, but it's that it will help the software engineer to fill in a lot of blanks that normally they would have to go through a lot of hoops to fill in the gaps. It makes the job easier because it is a tool that can think, you know, improve business operations. This is where the insights really come in because, for example, if you have a lot of data that you have to sift through in order to get insights and analyze where, let's say, your spending lapses are or where your market lapses are, AI is perfect for those sort of use cases because you can do all that processing and all that analysis very, very quickly, efficiently, and at scale. If you wanted to do that kind of thing with human beings, it would take not just time but money. And oftentimes, small startups and other type of businesses cannot afford that. You know. So last is innovating new products and services. There are a bunch of other use cases, but we mainly focus on these three because on these four, sorry, because they're the ones that right now are gaining the most amount of traction. So innovating new products and services. That goes without saying because, for example, if you have your company or businesses and you have like, let's say, one of the latest models from GPT, based on training data that you give it, you can ask it a lot of queries on how you can improve upon your already existing business models. And those models are trained on all of human knowledge, basically. So know how somebody has not done what you are doing in a way that that you can replicate and improve upon. You get so these are the main four use cases for when you integrate AI and ML into your businesses. Mm, Now, why AWS for AI and ML? Well, other than being the leading cloud service provider globally, it's not a question. AWS has recently really gotten like ramped up their AI and ML service offerings. So you have over 200 fully featured services in advanced AI and ML tools like AWS Bedrock, which is basically Bedrock is one of their flagship services right now. And what Bedrock allows you to do is that, take, for example, you want to create a customer service bot, or you want to create any sort of AI related service that you want, and you need a specific type of model, whether it be Claude Sonnet, whether it be Gemini AI, with any sort of model, they've basically made it very easy for users to pick whatever model they want and integrate it directly to their use cases without having to go through all the stress of building the model, training it on your data, letting it run. All those things have been abstracted basically because in tech, that's where the innovations really come in. The abstraction has been made, so you have over 200 fully featured services in that bedrock, and you can scale them in a secure way for whatever use case you want. And now, as we've seen that, we're offering it in a way that we can offer support for it as Vontech. Uh, this next slide, basically, it just details what I spoke about with Bedrock, that it is a scalable AI model, and it includes not just the open source models that you can use, but also proprietary models like Llama 3, GPT, Gemini. Paid models are now available to people, companies, businesses at a much more affordable and manageable use case so that people can take advantage of it. And it's something that just started. So not many people know about it. Yeah. Real world MI use cases. I believe, yeah, I'm going to cede the mic to my colleague Edith, um, who's going to feed the mic as well to one of my other colleagues, who's going to take us on a brief AI demo to detail how um, Bedrock can be used for predictive analysis for customer behavior. And from there, we can also see how all of these other use cases can be applied. Hi, Edith, are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Peter. That was
Mm.
really an amazing presentation. Yeah, so I believe that every one of us here have been able to gain one or two. By the way, let's appreciate Peter. Let's send some love emojis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Yeah. Thanks everyone for for that appreciation. All right, so we'll move very quickly to the next session, which will be more like a demo, right? So we'll be inviting our next speaker, who is our senior solutions architect here at Vontech, Tolu, right? So Tolu will take us on the next session, which is a demo on use cases involving AI machine learning. Um, Tolu, hi.
Hey Edith, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Are you set to present?
Yes, I am.
All right then. Over to you.
Okay, I'll be sharing my screen now. All right, so please notify me when you can see my screen.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna split this demo into two parts. I'm gonna first start with showing the theoretical of it, right? What we accomplished with this. Then I'm gonna go into the technical details. So first of all, we have some data over here. This is data for an energy consumption company, right? So it's been it's been reduced to a certain degree, but this data now is just going to give you insight on okay, energy consumption in certain areas at certain times, right? So it's just going to give us, we just want to use this data to gain some insights using generative AI, as opposed to going to look over it one by one by yourself, right? Or with as a data engineer. So a regular person now with these data sets linked, you can just come and ask, give me a brief description, or let's even just have it a verbose description of each column in the data sets provided. So we can see that we have dates, the data was recorded, the energy consumption, the temperature, humidity, location, time of day, energy source, weather condition, energy cost, and energy provider. Now let's say, give me some insights on the data provided. So we can take a look at some data that is given here. The energy consumption is higher in the office than in the factory. The energy cost is higher when the energy source is hydro than when it is wind. So you see that wind energy is cheaper than hydro. The energy cost is higher when the weather condition is cloudy than when it is rainy. The energy cost is higher when there's energy provider XYZ power than when it is ABC energy. So with this, you can see some small insights on the data that has been given to us that one would typically take some time to actually pull out this information from. You can deal with generative AI, right? You can even say, because generative AI is different from predictive AI, as my previous speaker had already explained. With predictive AI, we focus more on the predictions, while in generative AI, we focus more on generating of content. So say, okay, I want to actually do some prediction with this. Instead of going to just ask it straight to predict, just because it's a generative AI, instead of saying, okay, you can't do that because it's generation, you can actually ask it to generate a predictive model using Python code based on the data sets provided, assuming it would be read from a file called data.csv. So since that prompt didn't save, create Python code, generate Python code model to perform prediction prediction on ah, why am I misspelling this? Prediction on energy costs, provided it's reading the training data from a data.csv file. So let's run this. Some rendering has gone wrong here. Let's take a look behind the scenes. Simply have max token limits. Hold on a moment. Let me just fix that real quick. And we can get our look. Let's just have a smaller underscore data, right? And with that, we can just stop it for now. Start it back up. Yeah. So with this, it shouldn't take too long. So right now it's getting our data and it's generating our Python code. So with that, you can see it's already generated a Python code for us to allow us utilize linear regression model in order to perform our transformation and get our predictions. So with this, now you write this code. It already has the context of your data and it has given you a model that you can use to make your predictions based on that data. So with this, you have a heavy reliance on knowing the kind of data you're working with. You've gathered insights from that data and you're able to use it to generate the Python code for it. So from here, I'm moving on to the more technical line on how this actually works, right? And also some practices of what you would do if you wanted to set this up in a production ready environment, right? So we're splitting this into some certain sections. So what we did here to be able to use the external sources, right, such as our data for generative AI, is what we call RAG, right? That is called retrieval augmented generation. So what does this mean? This is it's trying to bypass one of the pitfalls of generative AI. And those of us who have used generative AI know that it tends to hallucinate, particularly on new data that it doesn't have any clue about what's going on, right? So let's say, for instance, an event happened today or a new library was created for a particular package today, and you wanted to work with that for coding, right? Or for, let's say, you wanted to get the latest article on it for something, right? Maybe you want to give a summary or a draft, depending on what you want. But you have new data that this model was never trained on because it just happened, right? How can you get this generative AI to work with this in the most effective manner? You could try and copy and paste the data directly, but when you are talking about very large amounts of data, that becomes a problem, like the one we showed earlier. That becomes a problem. You can't just copy it and paste it because you have what is known as a token limit, right? So we hear that turn around for generative AI. A token limit just means it's like saying I have a limited amount of sentences or words I can understand from you at a given amount of time. You can't just read to me an entire encyclopedia and expect me to get you at one point, right? Everybody has that. Okay, hold on, slow down, wait, stop right there. Let me process what you've said, right? That is basically your token limit for generative AI. And that is how much, that's basically how much the data that you are willing to, that it can accept at one go, right? So with RAG now, with retrieval augmented generation, you're able to chunk this data and get it based on your prompt. So based on what you want to do, it's able to get the most relevant data based on the large amount of data that you have, rather than just pasting everything and going at once, right? That's what RAG helps you do. So you can even create a library today for something. Maybe you wrote a book on a fictional story, a fictional character, or you have a maybe a scientific research paper or something, you wrote it down. You can use RAG, and from there you can start to prompt and it will give you all the information you need based on your documents. So with that, you have some very nice context over there with LLMs, right? Now, let's break this down into how we are doing this. For this model, right, the performance of this varies per model to model, right? We have models like Anthropic Cloud, which is one of the best right now, but this is currently using Amazon Titan. You can swap out the models here by simply just getting the appropriate model ID, right? We have Titan, we have Cloud for Sonnet, we have A21 Labs, A21 Labs, Jumba, we have Mistral, we have Stability AI. So you can use these models to generate both images, you can use it to get new content, you can use it to try and understand images. So they are all different models based on different things. This model here is just for content generation, for text generation, right? There are models that understand images as well. There are models that generate images as well. So now that I've spoke about RAG, I'm going to give you an overview of what this get index is doing and what it does when it indexes the document. So what it's basically doing is for you to get this data in a retrieval manner for the model, it needs to first convert it into what is known as a low space vector, right? And a vector is just converting the words that you see into numbers, right? That take less space and can easily be stored and retrieved, because computers easily understand numbers, not text that we see them. So that is what it's doing here. So it has a particular model separate from the one we used before, but it's used to create these embeddings. So these numbers, right? This array of numbers that we're going to use, that's what's going on over here. So we designed to hold, they are designed to hold vectors, right? Right now, they're just an in-memory one. If you wanted to go production-wise, you would actually store this in standard uh, a standard vector DB, which is something like Redis or PostgreSQL for it, right? So that is what we've done so far. We've chunked it, we've created our embeddings, and we have stored them in memory, right? We have this get memory here. This memory just has to do with the context window, right? The context window is how much the model can actually remember. So you have your memory, that you have your max token, and you have your memory, right? The max token is how much you can take at one point, while the context window for this is really just how much you can remember of that conversation, right? So from there, it starts to have an issue, right? And the bigger data you put to it, which is why RAG is quite good, because you can restrict the number of records that's coming in with it. Because sometimes if somebody asks you a question based on a particular document, right? Sometimes just a few lines of that document are important for you to answer that question, not the entire document. So that's why with RAG, you are able to get the necessary data you can from just those few lines, right? With the embedding model that are stored as numbers and send them to the model. So from here, you can see some of the instances of this, the data that was sent to it, right? And you can see our prompt over here. And you can see our response over here. So this is how you handle that, right? Then we have our streaming, because now this data is going to come in and it may come in chunks, right? So with these chunks, you just want to render them as they're coming along and not just, oh, everything every time. It just gets you back the value. So with this, I just want everyone to have a good understanding on some concepts here. That is RAG, and we have the retrieval augmented generation, what we know as max tokens, and what we know as memory of the LLMs. So with that, you're able to use this to generate content as you see fit. So thank you very much. I'm gonna hand the mic back to Edith. Hello, Edith, are you there?
Yeah. Um, Hi, Tolu. Wow. This was really really an insightful and really immersive session. It was short for with quite a lot of details and all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this session, Tolu. All right, so we are in the Q&A session. Can you guys hear me very well? Sorry, I know there's a little bit of noise from my background. All right, yeah. So we'll move very quickly to the Q&A session. I'm sure we all, lots of us here would have one or two questions we want to ask the speaker, either Tolu or Peter, right? So you could just drop it on the session on the chat box. Yeah. So I'll just read out the question, or if you want to speak, you could also raise your hand using the icon, the raise hand icon, and then I would call you.
There's still a bit of slideshow left actually. Or we can have a slideshow which details this.
Um, so just wait if we have maybe like one, two question we can take, and then we just go back to the slide. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the questions set is answered by one of the slides.
All right. I think we have a question here. Okay, so we have a question from Adebola, right? Yeah, so Adebola is asking, can you recommend materials to get grounded with this concept? Okay, so yeah, so Adebola would like to, go dive deeper into AI machine learning. So he would
Mhm.
want recommendation on materials that he could use to get grounded on this.
Okay, it's a great question actually because we've got you covered. So we've got a 5-step approach to adopting AI and machine learning into your already existing or workload. So the first step is to start small with clear objectives. You don't want to do too much at once, especially when you're just starting in. So you want to identify parts of your business, whether it be marketing, operations, sales, technical, that you want to integrate AI into. And you want to have clear objectives of what you want to accomplish by integrating AI into that. Okay, so you don't want to do too much at once. So the first step is start small with clear objectives. Next step is to utilize pre-built models for rapid development. Um, that's where services like Bedrock come in because all those pre-built models have already been tailored to whatever use case you're looking to go into. Bedrock also covers number 3 because it ensures that data and privacy compliances are met. Number 4 is also even covered by AWS because it makes sure that you are able to continuously monitor and fine-tune your models for optimal performance. So you can see, as my colleague Tolu demonstrated earlier, you can see when issues arise and you can fix them very easily. And then lastly is collaborate with experienced partners like Vontech, which is us, and AWS for guidance. Mm. So common adoption challenges, because it's one thing to say it and then it's another thing to do it. Oftentimes people want to integrate AI, but they either have issues with the data. So it's either that the data it needs cleaning, it's not always available, and the quality is poor. So you might have a lot of data, but you might not be able to clean it, or you don't know how to go about cleaning it and make it um, of the quality where you can feed it into these models. Or either if the data is not your problem and you've already gotten data created and curated to the level where it can be fed into the models, you don't have the technical expertise or the people to do that for you, which Vontech comes in. And then lastly, the uncertainty with return on investment, because AI and ML services are like chemistry. They are abstract concepts, though it's now easy for people to see what the immediate benefits are. It's sort of difficult to explain to like maybe the financiers of companies and things because you have to explain exactly how integrating AI and ML into your services can benefit the business, can bring return on investment, and all those monetary stuff. That's where Vontech also comes in because we know these things, so we can actually calculate it and give it to you in a presentable format, which you can then work on and get tangible results. And then lastly is employee resistance to change, because new workflows can be met with resistance. People are used to doing things that they're used to doing. So if you bring in new ways to do things, though it might be more effective and efficient, it might take a bit of time in order for them to move in that new direction. So these are things that we take into account whenever we integrate these services to people we work with. Hmm. And next is just a list of companies that majority of you would know who have worked with us and who are using AI and ML already in their services. Coinbase, Stripe, TransferWise, Affirm, Splice, just to name a few. Um, so we're reaching the end of our events basically and webinar. So we just like to take a bit of time. My colleague Edith mentioned Vontech earlier. We all work at Vontech in partnership with AWS. We are your AI support partner, but not just with AI, with a bunch of other things. We are the sixth APN partner in Nigeria, meaning that there are six other companies that do what we do, which is basically to help customers and businesses of all sizes move to the cloud. So whether you're on the cloud already or you're thinking of going onto the cloud, we're here for you. So some of the services we offer are AI and ML integration, which is basically what this webinar was about to let you all know that's what we do. We help with cloud managed services. So if you need services that you need to move to the cloud to be managed for you, whether it's because you don't have the technical team size or the expertise, we did for you. Cloud native development. So we develop cloud first services, meaning that we don't develop things off the cloud, then move them onto the cloud. No, our bread and butter is on the cloud. So we develop things first on there. And so we make sure that they work there first and they always work there. Cloud migration services, we help you move whether you're on GCP or Azure or Heroku or any other cloud services. We can help you move onto AWS at zero cost. Big data consulting services, which is the last one I'm going to list there. But this is all just an umbrella to let you all know that whatever your needs, just hit us up. We've got you because we are certified to offer these services from AWS. We've worked very hard to get not just the company certified, but all of us here who work at Vontech, we've had to go through multiple certifications to make sure that whenever we work with clients and people, we give them excellent service every time for the first time. Um, Lastly, I'll just detail AWS. We didn't really go much into AWS because we didn't really feel that it needs to be said much, because AWS, as most of us know, is the world's most comprehensive cloud platform, offering services across computing, storage, databases, advanced AI and ML tools, and they're trusted by millions of customers, including startups, enterprises, and government agencies, to make sure that their workload is running and stays running. I think here we are for the QA, and please, you can just drop your messages or questions in the chat, and while we answer those questions, I will just leave it on this screen, which details the channels through which you can connect with us. So you can send us a mail at sales, Edith or Peter at vontechgroup.com, or you can drop us a call or visit our website, which will also get you in contact with us. And lastly, you can scan this QR code, which will take you to our link tree, whereby you can see our LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Where else are we? We're everywhere, basically. So you can just search up anywhere Vontech, and you'll find us. Please, are there any questions? And I believe I will cede the mic to my colleague Edith, who will answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much. Please ask any questions that you have so that we can answer them for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter. Please let's send our love emojis, um, celebration emojis. Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter, for this wonderful presentation. All right, so I will just go straight to. Oh, sorry. I hope you can hear me. I know my background is quite noisy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah. So I'll just go very quickly to my own part, my key takeaway. So I hear you mention that generative AI, the use of RAG, right? We can use it to, enhance for our firms. We can use it to enhance customer services. Also trying to augment some processes, enhance it, make it better, give it more better and very, very improved features. And I think that is one of the amazing thing about AWS, about adopting AI machine learning into our data and all. Okay, so thank you so much to our speaker once more, Peter and Tolu. I can see a couple of questions on the chat. Yeah, so I have Osman Shak. Osman Shak is asking, are we going to get credit from AWS? How do we get credit towards $1,000? Okay, so I would just take that one. Okay, so there's another question also from Israel that says, please, what of a startup already on AWS about launching the beta product soon, but using that free tier of 1K credits, but needs credits? All right, so before I answer this question, we would be dropping a link for a chat, right? If you want to have more in-depth conversation with us, so you can just fill the chat. You can just fill the form. Let me just drop it here. Well, I would answer this question. Yeah, you can get credits from AWS. So, why Peter was talking about AWS, why Peter was talking about Vontech, he mentioned that we are one of the AWS partners here in Nigeria, and that's very correct. So that means that we have access to supporting customers on AWS with securing AWS credits. Yeah, so for the 1,000 worth of credits, if you are on AWS, yes, we could support you with getting that, right? Yeah. So for those that have those that would want to have beyond even 1,000 worth of credit, we also support customers around that. So you can just fill the form and we'll have that conversation. We can have that conversation outside of this place. Um, yeah, so if anybody that have any other question, you could raise your hand. You could also drop it on the chat. Okay, I have someone with a raised hand.
I'm the one. Can I talk?
Yeah, yeah, Khalid.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
please
I
go ahead.
just My name is good afternoon, good evening. My name is Khalid. Sorry, I
Hi,
just
Khalid.
joined the meeting. Yes. So I was thinking that I was actually I didn't join the meeting from the start. So just a brief, just a brief. Can you just put me through just a brief? Let's
Oh, okay. Thanks, Khalid. All right. We are actually trying to wrap up with the session. I'm so sorry to hear that you joined in late, right? But this session is actually recorded and we would have it on our YouTube channel. So since we have your data, right? We have your data as
yes.
part of it that register for this event. So we'll send you the link to this session on YouTube so that you can just look at it during your spare time and also share with your friends. So yeah, you don't miss anything at all. We got you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
any other question, any comments?
Sorry, before I enter, I was the minute I enter, I was hearing something like support, something like you have something like you should register through the link, something like that. You are talking about something.
All
Did I
right. So
get
I
that?
was talking about, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so someone asked on the chat if they can get support with this. Yeah, so if they can get support with AWS. Yeah, so I mentioned you could just fill the link. I dropped it in the chat, so you can just fill that out and we'll have that conversation outside of here.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
I think I have somebody else hand raised. Hi, peace.
Hello, Edith. Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Peter Olo. I'm the CEO of Social Enterprise Kenya, which is the umbrella body for social entrepreneurs, social enterprises. We more also focus on the base of the pyramid using business as a vehicle to address the world problems. But I'll focus to my question. We in Kenya, we have more than about 50,000 plus social enterprises. And one of the challenges we face is how to measure impact, social impact using AI. So we have been looking for a technology partner because many of the impact measurement tools are foreign based. We use them because I also run a social enterprise, but you find that the metrics used are not aligned to the African or Kenyan ecosystem. So I don't know how what you do at Amazon or whatever. We can be able to partner or work together so that we can be able to use some of the tools to measure impact because we want to ensure that our members focus more not on profit but also on impact. So I wanted to know how we can be able to engage. Maybe this can be offline, but just something that maybe if you can mention something.
Hi, Peter. So I will leave you to answer that question. Is that okay? Hi, Peter.
Yeah,
That's
that'll be
fine. That's
fine.
fine.
Hi, Peter. This is Peter. Thank you so much for your question. And yes, we love working with people like yourself who are doing great things in the society. Because although we are based in Nigeria, we work with people all across sub-Saharan Africa and EMEA. So what I would suggest, for the sake of time, is that we have a brief discovery call to see how we can tailor a solution directly to the problem that you're facing, because of course we can. That's what we do here at Vontech. So I see you dropped your email in the chat. We will get to you. We will send an email right away so that we can have that discovery call and see how we can work together. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay. That is okay, that is okay. We have no problem with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
All right, thanks a lot, Peter, for that. Do we have more questions? So I've dropped a form, a link to a form where we could have a quick chat. So you can just fill it out if you're interested in having a quick chat with us. We'll also be reaching out to everyone that has registered, right? So we know that yours is more distinguished, right? When you fill that form. So you can just help us complete the form if you're interested in having these conversations outside of here. All right, this is 6 o'clock. I think we just bring this session to a wrap. I really want to appreciate everyone that has taken out time to be here. We sincerely love you. We are grateful. Thanks a lot for your time. Um, Thanks also to the speaker, to Tolu, and then to Peter. Thanks for sharing your insights with us and your experience with working. Yeah, thanks, Peter. And your experience with working, on AI related projects. We sincerely appreciate this, and we do not take this for granted. And we hope to continue this conversation outside of here. And don't forget to follow us on our social handles, right? You can follow us on Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. The name is Vontech. And yeah, also complete our chat and reach out to you definitely. Thanks everyone for taking out time, and just so we remind ourselves that in the world of AI, anything is possible. Most things, if not everything, is possible. Yeah, and it's also a call to action that you can transform your data, can get more insights beyond what you have right now. Right, just come to us and fill the form, and then we'll reach out to you straight up so that we can see how we could collaborate and have something really, really meaningful and impactful using AI. Thanks everyone for joining, and it's a wrap from me. To enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you once more. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.